ongoing diplomacy and the tactics of the Indian government to restrict the water flow to Pakistan is concerned, that seems to be planning out well.
Thank you, Shweta. Yes, certainly we've been able to restrict the water flow by closing these two dams on Kishanganga. Also, we have a dam, and on Baglihar Dam is also there, and Salal Dam is also there. But right now, I think it's a temporary kind of an action because we'll have to open these sluice gates after some time because we don't have that kind of a storage capacity. Uh, but in the long run, yes, definitely, this is a very path-breaking decision of the Indian government to uh, restrict the water flow to Pakistan and make it count. See, you have to understand one thing that 80% of Pakistan's agriculture is dependent on these three rivers. And according to Pakistan Economic Survey 2024, uh, figures I'm having, 24% of the GDP of Pakistan is through the agrarian economy, and 37.4% of Pakistan's entire employment is through agriculture. So the two states which matter the most to Pakistan, uh, Punjab and Sindh, are going to be affected. And one more important factor is that uh, uh, 80% of the Pakistan army is dominated by Punjabis. All the senior Euro positions are there, all are Punjabi generals. So, what the Indian government has done is it has affected the psyche of the Pakistan army. They have been rattled, I would say that, and there have been protests in Pakistan also against this decision, and it is a reflection how poorly the people are now feeling that how poorly the government of Pakistan has handled this situation and has allowed it to escalate to this
Absolutely.
extent.
Major General, I have to ask you, I think let's quickly elaborate on some of these things you mentioned. About 24% of Pakistan's total economy is agrarian in nature, which essentially means that by the virtue of that decrease in supply of water, large parts of Sindh and Punjab will be impacted. To your understanding, what are the larger ramifications that we're looking at as far as psyche of those army men is concerned? As you rightly mentioned, 80% come from Punjab, which essentially means that they will then put pressure on the government if Indian government continues to withhold the water supply.
Uh, a very good question, Shweta. I think the Pakistan government has already decided to go to the International Court of Justice, and the permanent arbitration council is there in Hague. They've already decided to knock at the doors. But I want to ask one question. Are these organizations relevant any longer? What happened when South Africa took Israel to the International Court of Justice? What happened when South Africa took Israel to the International Criminal Court? So I think these measures are not going to make any difference as far as India is concerned. Now, coming to your exact question that how the Pakistan population, especially in Sindh and Punjab, especially the Pakistan Army. So I would like to mention here is there was a project, a canal project in Sindh on this Indus River, which has been temporarily stopped by Pakistan after this announcement came in. Or also, there were protests within the province of Sindh. It's called the Cholistan Canal project, and there was quite disturbances in Sindh. People were agitating because the water was being diverted from Sindh to Punjab. So you have to understand today they apart from Baluchistan, apart from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, apart from Waziristan, there are now fault lines developing in the province of Sindh, and it is largely against the Punjabis. in Balochistan also, if you would remember, and in this CPEC, most of the projects or the contracts have been given to the Punjabis in Balochistan, which has been resented by the local population of Balochistan. So these are the fallouts now of the Indus Water Treaty, what we are seeing. These fallouts are going to aggravate in Sindh, and we are going to see more protests there in that region.
Okay, more protests in the region. And Major General, this is a very critical time. This is right ahead of the Kharif crop sowing season. And from what I'm reading, Pakistan is worried right now if the water flow doesn't come in by June. An entire seasonal crop could likely be destroyed, which essentially also means that there will be a large-term impact on Pakistani economy, which is already crumbling as we speak.
You're absolutely right, and one more aspect is there. We normally carry out desilting of this river because these rivers are emanating from the glaciers, and there is a lot of silt which actually comes along. And normally, as per agreement with Pakistan, the desilting is carried out in the month of August because that is the time the monsoons are practically over. Now, what will happen is that we can carry out desilting any time of the year. And especially, the sowing season at that point of time, the Pakistan is going to get affected. So you are absolutely right. Now we'll be able to control the flow of water when the water is less in the river. I mean to say is that in the non-monsoon months, because in the non-monsoon months, so Pakistan needs water, and the river is the only source of water. And if you control this water in the non-monsoon months, you are going to create a devastating effect on the agriculture of Pakistan, on the GDP of Pakistan, on the psyche of Pakistan, and overall on the economy of Pakistan.
How would that impact if they were to make good on what he's warning India of? I believe right now it's going to be more detrimental to Pakistan than to India.
Thank you, Shweta. And you said that the Pakistani minister, which is, I believe you're referring to Khwaja,
the defense minister, Khwaja Asif, yes.
Shweta, I'm sorry to be making such a sweeping remark, but for me, the entire country of Pakistan is a joke. It's a theater of the absurd. I mean, a country which, out of the 78 years of existence, for only 7 years, has been a profit-making country, the country which has been over 20 times to IMF for a bailout, a country where they don't have 50% of internet, a country where no prime minister has completed their term, and not to mention while Imran Khan is still sitting in jail. So anything coming out of Pakistan, please, take it with a pinch of salt, because it's a country which was not based on any basis of a nation state. It was only because of their pathological hatred for the Yud and Hanud, which is the Jews and the Hindus, the country came into existence. And these kind of desperate comments that, Pakistan is like an individual who's had a nuclear bomb, tapped up to them. And they tell the world, if you don't listen to us, if you don't intervene, if you don't stop India, we're going to blow ourselves. So this is the level of IQ an average Pakistani politician has. And it's not even just the minister. I mean, Bilal made a statement after that. Imran Khan is on record saying about a few years ago to a think tank in America that we have 30 to 40,000, terrorists living in our country. And I'm assuming that in the last 5 years, these people are not going to Howard or Wharton. They are still the snakes that Pakistan kind of, brought up or reared in their backyard. So I wouldn't worry about it, but, but Shweta, I want to speak to the entire Indian country through you, that those people who are talking about a kinetic war and all of this, the war has already started. It doesn't need to be kinetic. I mean, that's the last resort. The way we're playing with Pakistan, all we need to do is simply delay, divert, and disturb the water flow. We don't need to make those dams. They're going to take years, and we don't want to do that either. But this delay, divert, and disturbance will dislodge the Pakistani economy, because if your crop gets affected and the water flow, if you really release it harder and the monsoons are yet to come, some of their bunkers and movements of the tank across the border could also absolutely be useless and redundant. So this is a desperate attempt by a country which failed many years ago. I am sorry, It hasn't failed now. It is only the Western economies, especially for their geopolitical and strategic interests, kept feeding this nation like somebody who's on a ventilator, giving them enough money so that they can use that against, against earlier they did with the USSR, and now they probably need to do with, to deal with China, and so I wouldn't worry about them, but I wish to tell the entire country and the entire audience that are watching that please don't go out screaming from rooftops that when will we attack. The attack has already started, and this is one of the biggest psychological warfares which India is using.
Okay.
Shweta, the fear of death is far more lethal than death, because when you're died, when you're dead, when the gun is fired, the story is over. But the way our Prime Minister and the entire Indian elected dispensation has been playing this game, I'm sorry to be using such a undermined expression with the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, that if you see their political debates, they are living in so much of insecurity because they don't know where the Indian state is going to hit them. And this water crisis has been actually a kind of an existential crisis for the entire Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Imagine if their crops are disturbed, a country which is already down to the tatters. Imagine the civil unrest. People are already against the army. The two of their states are not wanting to live with them out of the four. So you can imagine that this act of hybrid war is far more lethal than a kinetic warfare. Thank you, Shweta.